Have you ever said something to a woman and later realized she remembered it more than anything else you said that day? Not because it was clever, not because it was romantic, but because it quietly changed the way she felt about herself when she was with you. Let me ask you a real question before we begin. What if the reason your compliments never land is not because you say the wrong words, but because you say them from the wrong emotional place? Stay with me, because today I'm not going to give you cheesy lines. I'm not going to give you scripts that make you sound needy, and I'm definitely not going to give you manipulation tricks. I'm going to show you 3, psychologically, powerful compliments that create emotional depth, safety, and quiet attraction. The kind that stays with her long after the conversation ends. And yes, the kind that makes her think about you later that night. Before we begin, if you care about emotional intelligence, real attraction, and stoic self-control that actually improves your relationships, make sure you like this video, subscribe, and watch until the end. Because the final point will change the way you speak to women forever. Here is the uncomfortable truth most men don't want to hear. Women don't fantasize about men because of sexual words. They fantasize about men because of how their nervous system felt around him. Calm, grounded, emotionally steady, unrushed, unneedy. Your presence creates the fantasy. Your words only open the door. So before I give you the 3 compliments, remember this. If you deliver these lines while chasing approval, while waiting for validation, while trying to impress, they lose all power. But when they come from emotional sovereignty, they become unforgettable. Let's begin. Compliment 1. I like how calm you are when you talk about things that really matter to you. Most men compliment looks. You're beautiful. You're hot. You're cute. There is nothing wrong with that. But every man does it. And more importantly, every man communicates the same thing underneath it. I see your surface. This compliment does something very different. I like how calm you are when you talk about things that really matter to you. What are you actually saying here? You are not praising her face. You are not praising her body. You are not even praising her personality. You are praising the way her emotional system operates. You are recognizing her emotional regulation. And here is why this is powerful. Most people grow up feeling emotionally unseen. People listen to respond. People listen to fix. People listen to impress. Very few people notice how someone carries emotion. When you say this calmly, without leaning forward, without smiling nervously, without trying to sound impressive, you create something rare. You communicate emotional attunement. She feels emotionally recognized without being emotionally exposed. And that is deeply attractive. But here is the most important detail most men miss. You must not say this while staring at her. Say it casually. Say it lightly. Almost like an observation you just realized. Then move on, because the power is not in lingering. The power is in not needing a reaction. Here is what starts happening in her mind later. He noticed something most people don't notice. He wasn't trying to impress me. He was simply present. That is what stays with her. Not your words. Your emotional stillness. Compliment 2. You make conversations feel easy. I don't feel like I have to perform around you. This is one of the most psychologically attractive compliments you can give a woman, but only if you understand what it truly means. Most women are constantly performing emotionally, being pleasant, being light, being interesting, being socially smooth. They carry emotional labor everywhere. When you say, you make conversations feel easy, I don't feel like I have to perform around you, you are giving her something extremely rare. You are telling her, you are safe to be real around me. But here is the hidden layer. You are not saying, you make me feel good. You are saying, you remove pressure from my nervous system. This is emotional leadership. You are not using her attention to regulate yourself. You are telling her that her presence allows your system to stay relaxed. And psychologically, people feel drawn to those whose emotional systems remain stable in connection. Now listen very carefully. Do not say this like a confession. Do not say it like you're opening your heart. Do not say it like you are emotionally dependent. Say it like a grounded observation, almost as if you were talking about the weather. Because if you sound like she is responsible for your emotional comfort, the polarity collapses. But when you say it from emotional independence, she experiences you as emotionally self-contained. Later that night, what echoes in her mind is not, he likes me. It is. He is comfortable in himself around me, and that is what creates mental replay. Compliment 3. I admire how you handle uncomfortable moments without rushing to escape them. This one separates emotionally intelligent men from emotionally reactive men. Most people are not afraid of rejection. They are afraid of emotional discomfort. They are afraid of the tiny pause after a heavy sentence. They are afraid of silence after honesty. They are afraid of not knowing what to say next. They are afraid of feeling something they cannot immediately fix, so they escape. They escape with humor. They escape with distractions. They escape with small talk. They escape by changing the subject. They escape by pretending nothing serious just happened. Silence, tension, uncertainty, serious moments. These are not problems. They are emotional information. But most people treat them like danger. That is why people rush to jokes. That is why people rush to advice. That is why people rush to solutions. That is why people rush to rescue the mood. Because staying present inside emotional weight requires inner stability, and inner stability is rare. So when you calmly say, I admire how you handle uncomfortable moments without rushing to escape them, you are doing something very few men ever do. You are not flattering her. You are recognizing a deep emotional skill. You are telling her, I see your emotional courage, not your confidence, not your social charm, not your intelligence, your courage to stay emotionally present when it would be easier to disappear. You are acknowledging her capacity to sit inside emotional complexity, and that matters more than you realize, because most women are used to one of two reactions when emotion deepens. Either men become uncomfortable and emotionally withdraw, or men rush to fix her feelings so they don't have to sit with them. Very few men can simply remain present, without solving, without correcting, without minimizing, without redirecting. So when you notice her ability to stay with emotional depth, you mirror emotional maturity back to her. And psychologically, something very important happens. People grow into the version of themselves that is calmly reflected back to them. When you recognize emotional strength in her, you are strengthening that identity inside her. But here is the part that truly creates attraction. This compliment only works if you yourself are emotionally grounded, because she will feel immediately whether you actually live this. Not intellectually, nervously, emotionally, somatically. She will feel it in how you breathe when silence arrives. She will feel it in your body language when a serious moment appears. She will feel it in whether your eyes stay steady or start searching for escape. If you panic in silence, if you rush to fill space, if you become awkward when emotion deepens, if you suddenly start talking faster, if you shift your posture away from emotional weight, this line will feel hollow, even if you say it perfectly, even if your voice sounds calm, because the nervous system cannot be fooled by words. It reads presence. It reads regulation. It reads emotional posture. But if you genuinely hold emotional space calmly, if you can stay still when a moment becomes heavy, if you do not rush to protect yourself from emotional intensity, this compliment becomes an emotional anchor. An anchor is something the nervous system remembers. Not because it was dramatic, but because it felt safe. She feels understood at a level most people never reach. And I want you to notice something very important here. Not validated, not reassured, not rescued, understood. There is a massive difference. Being validated feels good. Being understood feels stabilizing. When a woman feels emotionally understood, not explained, not analyzed, not fixed, understood, her nervous system begins associating emotional safety with your presence. And this association does not happen consciously. She does not think, he made me feel emotionally safe. She simply feels more open around you, more relaxed around you, less guarded, less performative, less controlled. And that association is powerful, because attraction is not created by excitement. Attraction is created by nervous system trust. That association is what becomes fantasy. But now let me tell you something very important. The fantasy is not sexual. This is where most men misunderstand female psychology. The fantasy is emotional. She does not imagine your body. She does not replay your compliments. She does not remember your clever lines. She remembers your tone. She remembers how slow you spoke. She remembers how you did not rush your sentences. She remembers how you paused without panic. She remembers how your body stayed open instead of closing off. She remembers that you did not rush to fill silence. She remembers that you did not try to manage her emotions. She remembers that you did not try to win her. She remembers that you were emotionally intact whether she reacted or not. She remembers that you did not need her to feel a certain way for you to remain grounded, and that is what makes a man stand out. Because most men collapse emotionally the moment uncertainty appears. They collapse into humor. They collapse into performance. They collapse into reassurance seeking. They collapse into trying to be liked again. They collapse into emotional negotiation, and nothing dissolves polarity faster than emotional negotiation. But when you can stay present inside emotional weight, you become emotionally non-reactive, and emotional non-reactivity is deeply stabilizing to the feminine nervous system. Let me show you what this looks like in real life. She shares something vulnerable, something unresolved, something confusing, something painful. There is a pause. Most men rush to fill it. You don't. You breathe. You stay. You let the moment exist. You let the emotion be unfinished. And later, naturally, calmly, without emotional emphasis, you say, "I admire how you don't rush away from uncomfortable moments." That's it. No emotional speech. No dramatic delivery. No attempt to deepen the moment, because the depth already happened. Your job is not to intensify it. Your job is to honor it. And here is something very subtle but important. This compliment is not about her. It is also about you. It signals who you are emotionally. It signals that you are not afraid of emotional weight. It signals that you do not need to escape complexity. It signals that you are capable of emotional leadership. And emotional leadership is not dominance. It is regulation. It is stability. It is emotional containment. Now listen carefully. If you use this compliment while secretly hoping she will open up more, if you use it to encourage vulnerability for your benefit, if you use it as a way to deepen emotional access, you turn emotional safety into emotional extraction, and women feel that immediately. Safety disappears the moment your compliment has an agenda. But when you recognize emotional courage without needing anything back, you become emotionally trustworthy, and trust is what allows fantasy to form. Because fantasy is not created by stimulation. Fantasy is created by emotional permission. Permission to soften. Permission to drop defenses. Permission to be less guarded. Permission to feel without being managed. Let me make this extremely clear. This compliment is not about making her emotional. It is about being emotionally stable while emotion exists. That is the difference. Most men try to lead women into emotion. Very few men can lead themselves inside emotion. So if you want this compliment to truly work, you must practice something far more important than words. Practice staying present when things feel slightly uncomfortable. Practice not rescuing conversations. Practice not repairing emotional tension immediately. Practice not explaining yourself the moment silence appears. Practice letting moments breathe. Practice letting your nervous system stay steady even when uncertainty is in the air. Because when you can sit calmly inside emotional ambiguity, you become rare. And rarity is attractive, not because it is impressive, but because it is safe. And when a woman lies in bed later that night, what stays with her is not what you said. It is how her body felt around you. Calm, unrushed, unpressured, unmanaged. That is the emotional signature she remembers. That is the emotional memory that plays quietly in the background. And that emotional memory is what makes a man unforgettable. Let me now reveal the biggest mistake men make with compliments. They treat compliments as tools, as tactics, as leverage, as exchange. I say something nice and I hope something happens. This creates emotional pressure. Even if you say the right words, even if you memorize the perfect lines, your emotional state leaks underneath everything you say. So what should you actually practice? Not techniques, not scripts, not lines. Practice emotional containment. Practice not rushing to repair discomfort. Practice not chasing reassurance. Practice allowing silence without tension. Practice being rooted in your own rhythm. When you stop using connection to regulate your emotional state, your presence starts doing the work for you. Let me show you how these 3 compliments look in real life. Not staged, not dramatic, simple. You're talking about something meaningful. She shares a personal thought. You pause. You nod. Then quietly, "I like how calm you are when you talk about things that really matter to you." And you move on. Later, in another moment, "You know, conversations with you feel easy. I don't feel like I have to perform." And you smile slightly, not for approval, just acknowledgement. And during a more serious or quiet moment, "I admire how you don't rush out of uncomfortable moments." No emotional display. No fishing. No waiting. Just grounded presence. That's it. One final thing before we end. These compliments are not magical. They only become powerful when they are aligned with your internal state. If you secretly hope she will respond a certain way, if you secretly need her reaction, if you secretly want reassurance, you turn depth into pressure. But when you offer recognition without needing anything back, you become emotionally rare, and rarity creates desire. So remember the 3 compliments. I like how calm you are when you talk about things that really matter to you. You make conversations feel easy. I don't feel like I have to perform around you. I admire how you handle uncomfortable moments without rushing to escape them. Say them only when they are true. Say them slowly. Say them without emotional hunger. Say them from emotional sovereignty, and let your presence do the rest. If this changed the way you look at communication, attraction, and emotional intelligence, make sure you like this video. Subscribe and stay with me for real psychological insights that actually improve your emotional life. With that said, thanks for watching, and until next time.